My name's Carrie, and this is the Creative Obsession Podcast. Thank you so much for coming by and hanging out with me. Today is July 23rd, 2019, and it is a warmish but cloudy day here in Oregon. We've had a pretty mild summer so far. I've liked it because it hasn't been super hot, and it's been really nice. But I have a feeling summer's going to just be late. We've been kind of having later summers lately. It'll start getting hot in August and probably stay hot through October. But for right now, it's good. I've been doing a lot of camping and knitting and just generally kind of hanging out. So I've got some knitting to share with you today. I did finish a dot painting project that I gave to somebody that I work with for her birthday, and so I don't have it because I already gave it away. Other than that, it's been all pretty much knitting. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry. There's a Ravelry group for this podcast that you can find under the groups tab. I'll put the information on the screen below, and I will put any links to patterns, websites, Etsy shops, whatever, in the description box below this video. So, that being said, let's get started. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of knitting. I most recently finished just a hat. I mean, it sounds basic, but I needed a hat. We camped earlier in June, and it was a little bit chilly still up in the mountains, and it had gotten kind of windy, and so I needed a hat, and I didn't have one with me. So I thought, I just need to knit a hat that I keep in the trailer. I thought I had one. I thought I already had done that, and I didn't. So I started a hat. So I finished it, and it's just a basic beanie style hat, but I did it with 2 strands of fingering weight yarn. So I had recently finished, if you've watched, you've seen it, a cardigan made with 2 strands of fingering weight yarn, and I really loved the look of it, and I loved that I was able to use my fingering weight yarn in a project that called for something bulkier. So I had these 2 leftovers. So the variegated one is Primrose Yarn Company. I don't know the name of it. Let me see if I have the tag still. No, I don't have the tag. It was left over from a cowl that I made. And then I think this is Malabrigo or Madelinetosh. I kind of think it's Malabrigo because I used it in a shawl. And I thought, well, those go together. And so knit them 2 strands together, make a basic beanie. I didn't follow a pattern. I had made a beanie for myself before and just kind of kept notes. I like my beanies to be a little bit looser. I have kind of a big head, and I don't like it when it just fits tight. I just need something for warm, probably too big for anybody else, but for me it's perfect. But I just loved the way it looked, and I have so many partial skeins of fingering weight yarn that are left over from different projects, you know, because you rarely use every ounce of your yarn. And I thought, what a great way to use it up and make chemo hats. So I'm going to alter my pattern so that it's made a little bit smaller, because I do realize I have a large head. And I'll just write that down, and just did ribbing for like 15 rows or something like that, and knit for a certain amount, and then did decreases. Super basic. But I'm going to start doing that and use up some of my leftover bits of fingering weight yarn and put 2 different colors together to make a new color. It's kind of fun to play with that. So there's enough here for me to make another hat. So I'm going to keep this one because it's made to fit me, but I'll make another one in a smaller size for chemo hats. So good idea. And there's a lot of hat patterns out there if you need to follow a hat pattern. Depending on the fingering weight yarn, those 2 yarns are pretty standard, I think, and it would make about a DK weight. So if you just find a pattern that's a DK weight yarn, you could probably do the same thing. So that was really the only thing I finished. I've been working really pretty solidly on my dark water sweater. So that is a pattern by Jen Steingass. Like I said, I'll put the link down below. Colorwork sweater, just pullover style. And I'm to the point, I tried it on this morning, and I put it on another needle so I could actually try it on, and I'm to the point of doing the ribbing now. So we're getting there. But this is it so far. So you can see that color work is just so pretty. I thought it was going to be too big. It is a little loose, and by the time I block it, it's liable to actually be a little bit big. But then somebody at Knit Night suggested maybe steeking it and making it a cardigan. So that's kind of in my head that I'm going to do that because I've never done it before, and I think that would be really pretty. But if it ends up just fitting the way it is really nice, I'll leave it. But I have a feeling that it's going to maybe be a little loose once it blocks out. So we'll see. If it ends up being too loose, like I said, we'll just make lemonades out of lemon, right? Or whatever, something like that. So I love these colors, love them together. The color is yarn by Trilogy. Oh, I don't have the skein in here anymore because I stopped using it. Trilogy Fibers. It's all MCN, so it's really soft. So I'll do the ribbing, pick up for the sleeves. I had thought about doing this design down by the ribbing, but that's where I want to make sure it's stretchy enough. And I thought, I don't know. I mean, this is pretty stretchy still. And then I'm already there at the ribbing, and I would have needed to have been doing color work, and I didn't. So I'm not. I might do it on the cuffs instead of down by the bottom, because then I'll plan ahead a little bit better. So, you know, this is a great project. This is a great, like, vanilla, don't have to really pay attention, don't have to look, just doing stockinette in the round. It's what I pick up when we were watching Stranger Things. If you guys watched the latest season, it's intense. It's intense. And so this is what I could pick up because I don't have to look at a pattern. I don't really have to watch my hands. I can just sit there and knit. I would knit pretty fast because it gets pretty intense. So we did get through it. Jim was so funny because he's like, I don't want to just binge watch it and watch the whole thing because then it's over too soon. So we need to pace ourselves. So we'd watch an episode, maybe two. We're like, okay, let's wait, because you don't want it to end too soon. So we did finally get through it the other night. It was a good season, a little bit different than before, but we still really enjoy it. So now we have to wait because it was like 2 years between seasons last time, which is not okay, but that's okay. Something we'll fill it in with something else. Oh, something else I did just like last week. A good friend of mine, gave me for my birthday to do like a glass blowing experience, and so we went to a studio, and we each blew a ornament. I don't have it yet because she was going to pick it up, because when you're done, it's got to go into this cooler thing that cools it super slow, and it takes a few days to cool it. And so she was going to pick it up when it was ready, and I haven't heard from her, so I don't know if she picked it up or not. But that was really fun. I know my mom was like, oh no, not another hobby. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting like a whole fire studio going. It was fun, and I could see how working with it would be just really interesting, because you're working with a very fragile medium. Certain things you have to do a certain way, and then you don't know what's going to really happen, and you don't really know how it's going to turn out. Like, you have an idea of how it's going to turn out, and we just made these ornaments, but I could just see where it would be a lot of fun. The guy was really cool. It was really nice. It was a fun experience. So next time I'll have my ornament to show you. But it was funny because right after we did that, I saw on Netflix a series. It's a series, but it's like one of those competition things for blowing glass. It's called Blown It. I'll put that down here because I'll look it up. And so they have these tasks, these glass blowers, experienced glass blowers, like you need to make, this out of this theme or something, and then they create something out of glass. It's fascinating. And it was just cool to have had that experience and then watch this show. So I think we've just got the finale left to see who actually wins it. But it's just interesting. And then they'll go through this whole thing, and then the the glass piece will break off the end and it just shatters on the floor and they have to start all over. That would be super frustrating, but it's just part of making glass, I guess. So anyway, that was a fun thing that I did, and I'll have hopefully something fun to show you. I did start my Montana Mountain cowl by Andrea Mowry. I showed you that last time that I was going to start it. I did start it. I'm partway through. I don't know how far through. Not even halfway yet. So isn't that pretty how that gradates? This gradation is done so well. It is so subtle. The change is so subtle. And I was like going. I'm like, is the color ever going to change? Because it's slowly changing. You're not realizing it. And so it wasn't until I actually did that, I went, oh yeah, I guess those two colors are very different. Now I can see it more as it's getting darker. So it's a gradating skein from Wendy's Wonders. So now I'm getting more purpley. So you can see where that's kind of a reddish, brick reddish color. It's going to go more purple than to blue and green. So I think this is a great pattern for that because you can really see it. So it is knit in the round and then you seam it together. So it's just a thick, thick cowl. And the light color is one of my leftovers. This, oh God, I had the name. Ambrosia. No, was that it? Maybe. So that's the light color I'm using with the gradient. Like I said, Wendy's Wonder, she's on Etsy. She has a lot of different gradients and she does a really good job at gradating it. Because it's not like all of a sudden there's a line of new color. It's very subtle and I think it looks really cool. So this is a good pattern I can kind of not pay attention. Like I have to look and see what I'm doing on that row, and it's a 10 stitch repeat. I did just recently put markers in so that I could be a little bit more absent-minded about knitting it. Because then I know I'm supposed to end at whatever, before you start the next 10, you should be doing whatever stitch. And I did for this, for my sweater too, I downloaded the Knit Companion app. My friend Lucy's been trying to get me to do it for a long time. And I thought, I was doing the Colorwork sweater, the dark water sweater, and I thought, okay, this is a good time to try it again. And so I downloaded it on my tablet. That I have, just an 8-inch Samsung tablet, and it's been really nice. It has been really nice because then you can move. It's trying to load up because my tablet's really slow. But you can move your highlight, so you can see. I've got a highlight. Is it moving? No, I can't see. Oh, what did I do? I touched something. I swear to God, electronics and me, it's amazing I can function. Anyway, you can highlight the line so you can follow your line on your chart and everything like that. So a lot of people have it. I had gotten it before and I just never used it because I put it on my tablet so I can see, but this is what I like to watch, like podcasts and Netflix and whatever, especially during football season. When Jim wants to watch football, I'll just put my earbuds in and watch my own thing, and I watch it on my tablet. Well, I can't do a chart on that, so I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Right now, it's okay. When he's home, I'm pretty much, we're watching whatever on TV, so I'm not watching something separate. But you can put it on your phone if you want to. I just feel like the charts and stuff would be too small. So I have it on my tablet, which is really nice because then it keeps track of where I am and I can just prop that up wherever I go and do my little chart. So anyway, this is the Montana Mountain Cowl by Andrea Mowry. I don't know how I got going on that rabbit trail, but thanks for coming along with me because it's always fun to have friends along with you. Let me put that over there. So I saw on Instagram somebody calling for a test knit for a brioche cowl. It was Seisha Green, and I thought, for whatever reason, when I just saw like a part of it, just so you could kind of see what the brioche looked like, I was like, oh, I think I could do that. I'm no basic brioche. I have done a cowl that had increases and decreases, and I struggled a lot with it. But I thought, well, I've done a straight 2-color brioche cowl that I get the gist of it, and so maybe I'm ready. So I told her, hey, I'd like to test knit it for you. I've never test knit before, and I'm a beginner briocher. So she's like, well, I'm looking for somebody that's had more experience in both of those areas. Let me think on it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You know, when the pattern comes out, if I will make it when it comes out. So she gets back to me and she says, you know what, if you want to give it a try, go ahead. So I'm test knitting. I'm doing my first test knit. So it's for a cowl, and I didn't know what it looked like other than the small picture of what the brioche pattern looked like. And I figured it was going to be a big, thick cowl because it's DK weight yarn and it's brioche, like brioche is thick. So I knew I needed 2 skeins of 2 different colors. So you want to have a contrasting color because that's what makes brioche look so cool, is to have a good contrast. So I looked in my stash. I still have some yarn left over that I kept when I stopped dyeing yarn for my shop. Some stuff that I figured I would end up using. The rest of it I gave away. So I had limited skeins where I had 2 skeins of the same color. And so one of the colors I had was my lemongrass colorway, which I like, but it's a little bright. It's a little yellow for me. It's a little bright, but I was like, but how can I use this? How can I use this? And so I thought, well, I can put it with this gray. And so this is Nymphomaniac. This was a colorway I designed for Carrie. She's one half of the Knitters Gotta Knit podcast. And so I had a couple skeins of this, but I'm like, somehow something's not quite right. And so then I realized I need to tone this down. It's just a little too bright. I like the idea of the green and the gray with the little pops of orange. I think it'll be really pretty, but I need to tone this down a little, or I for sure will never wear it. I don't know if I'll ever wear it anyway, let's be honest. So I took the 2 skeins and I over-dyed them. And I knew I wanted to tone it down. I wanted it to still look green, but I wanted to tone it down. So I over-dyed it with a blue-gray color, and I got like the perfect green. So this and this are going to be my brioche cowl. And so I'm going to show you something, because I thought that everybody did this, but when I was over at Michelle's and we were going through her yarn, and she wanted to put together some yarn for a project, and I showed her how I can see if colors will kind of work together. So when you do this, you're like, I don't know, does it work? So what you do, or what I do, is I take it out of the twist and put them together, and then twist them up like that. And then you can see, how does that look together? Is there contrast? Because if they just look like they blend together, then there's not very much contrast, which may be fine for your project. It just depends on your project. For this project, I wanted a high contrast because it was going to be brioche. So by doing that, I could kind of get an idea of how it's going to look. So I thought, okay, we're good. We're good with those 2 colors. So I did get started on it. I started it yesterday. Violet was super tired because she played with Vladimir, my son's pug, the night before, and she was really tired and was sleeping a lot. So I was able to sit and concentrate. It took me a while. Honestly, it took me a while. And so as a test knitter, you're also critiquing everything, how everything's worded. Is there punctuation or spelling errors or whatever? You're looking at everything so that when she publishes the pattern, it's good to go. So I don't know. I just was struggling with the whole beginning of it because things seemed complicated. I couldn't quite understand. And I don't know if it was just because I'm a beginner briocher and she says this is an intermediate project. So I'm just like, I'll tell her something like this. I struggled with this. It could just be me. It could just be the way I'm interpreting it. So it took me the entire day to get like that much done. So I did get a little bit more done last night. but I'm loving it so far. I think I'm kind of getting in a groove of how things are working. Great contrast. There's the green side. I think it's gonna look pretty good. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I'll wear it. It's gonna be really super warm. So if I don't think I'm gonna wear it, I'll make a really nice gift for somebody that will. So I'm doing a test knit. And I have to have it done by the end of August. And going how slow that, like, it took me an entire day to get that much done, it may take me a while. But I think as I get going, it'll be a little bit faster. I'm hoping so, because I also know right now it's not one of those projects I can pick up unless I can really focus on what I'm doing. And I put it in the Knit Companion app, which is helping. And so I'm following the written instructions. She has a chart and written instructions, and you can pick which one you want to do. And I thought, I don't know Brioche well enough to be following a chart because the symbols are kind of funky. So let me just go by the written instructions. So it's helpful for me to be able to move my little highlighted line thing and all that. So it's good that it's on that app. I'm glad I have it. So so that's gonna be kind of taking up my time. My sweater's gonna have to kind of go on a side burner, not a back burner, because I think that I'm gonna need some calming knit for me to do every once in a while, because that took a lot of concentration. It really did. So I can just sit there and kind of knitting around. So I'll get my ribbing done. That's kind of mindless, and it takes a while to get all the way around. So I'll be working on it, but it'll be slow. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to put the mountain cowl aside for a little bit, just because I really have, because she has a deadline on this, and I think I'm gonna be slow. I've got to really concentrate on that cowl. But it's going to be a fun experience. It's so far, I think it's going to be good. I appreciate that she gave me a chance to try it, and I think actually it's good for her to have somebody that's not super experienced do it, to make, I think that helps you see whether you're explaining things right, because a lot of people are going to try it. I had my friend Lucy over. She had a new puppy. Or she got a new puppy. She didn't have it. Like, she didn't birth it, but she got a new puppy, a little Australian Shepherd. And so I'm like, come bring her over and let her play with Violet. And so the kids played, and she was talking about wanting to go to the Naughty Lamb, which is a yarn shop out in Forest Grove. It's about a 45-minute drive from here. I said, oh yeah, I want to go out there someday. She goes, well, let's go today. So we packed the dogs up in the back of the car and off to the yarn shop we went. It is such a nice shop. I didn't take any pictures or any videos because I just didn't. But really nice shop in Forest Grove, and so I will definitely be going back out there. It has really nice, a nice selection of hand-dyed yarns. You've got some barnyard knit in there, some suburban stitcher, House of Alamode. There was some Yoth yarn. Trying to think of some of the other indie dyers, some different ones that aren't in the other two bigger yarn shops in Portland. So it was really nice, super nice, comfortable place. The people were really nice and stuff. And so she got some yarn for a project. And I don't really need yarn because I've got some yarn that I've either purchased or been gifted. And then I still have yarn from when I had my shop, and I have undyed yarn. So if I need yarn, I can dye it. So I don't buy yarn so much, every once in a while, but I did pick up Strange Brew. So this is not new, but I finally was able to pick one up. Almost ordered it online, and then I was like, no, maybe I'll get that for my birthday or something. It didn't happen. So I bought it for myself. It's from Tin Can Knits, and it is kind of like a sweater recipe, depending on like whatever yarn you use, whether you want to make this sweater out of fingering or DK or worsted. It's like, here's the stuff, and kind of teaches you how to figure out color work on the yoke. And there's patterns for it, and then there's also math of how you can figure out, because when you start like as a top down, you're starting with a small circumference and you're increasing. Well, your design has to somehow fit in that. So it all explains it in here. I just glanced through it it kind of was making my mind hurt a little bit because there's a lot in there, but I'm really excited because I've been wanting to get this. So I bought the book because I like to sit down and just thumb through it. And then you also get a code to get the ebook. So you have the digital copy as well to have digital patterns and stuff. So I think this will be really good because there's some really pretty yolks and stuff that they show in there. And I like the idea too of making things into a cardigan after you've knit it in the round as a pullover, because then you're just doing stockinette and then you steek it. Assuming that the steeking goes well, because I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do with my dark water. So pick that up. I got another book that I ordered. I just ordered it on Amazon. I read somewhere something that this is a good book if you're wanting to learn stuff about spinning. So this has got a lot of information. It doesn't tell you how to spin, but it's just kind of telling you different things about twist and I don't know, just lots of different things. Let's see. Let's look at the sweater. Okay, just look at that. I think that's pretty cool. I think the pattern for that's in here. Now, I haven't gotten my spinning wheel yet. So they talk about like fiber and color and how different things work. So, got that. I'm sure I'm going to look into it more when I get my spinning wheel, which should come the first part of August sometime. So, really getting pretty close, like a couple weeks maybe. So that's another reason why I really need to get that brioche cowl done, because I know when I get my spinning wheel, I'm going to want to play with that and be learning it and messing with it and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I committed to making the cowl within a certain amount of time, and so I take that seriously. So I will be doing that. I think that's really all I have today for you. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna head off to go camping. So as long as the truck gets fixed. And so I'll get some good knitting time. Should get some good knitting time then. If we get Violet tired, take her on some hikes and then sit around and relax. We were so relaxed this last camping trip. I don't know why it was different. It was just good. I really like the east side of Mount Hood. The climate is drier, and it has pine trees. Like on the west side of the mountain range, we have more fir trees. You have Douglas firs and cedar and grand firs and all these fir trees, which are beautiful. But the pine trees have like the most delicious smell. I just love the pine trees. So it was fun and relaxing because we hadn't camped on that side of the mountain in forever. And so it kind of felt new again, and took some really lovely hikes, and it was very relaxing. Had a deer walk through our campsite while we're sitting at the fire. I'm sitting there talking to Jim, and he goes, right behind you, there's a deer. Like, turn slowly, there's a deer. It's kind of like, and Violet was zonked out, so luckily she didn't see it. But it was just really nice. It was a really nice trip. So I'm hoping this trip up to the mountain again this next week will be good too. So hopefully you guys are all enjoying your summer. Thank you to everybody that participated in the giveaway. You guys had some really nice things. I'm like, I want to do that too, and I like to do that too. And everybody just kind of chills during the summer, and I like it. So I did pick a winner, and I haven't mailed it out yet, Patrice. I'm sorry. It'll go out today. I'll go to the post office. I have it packaged up. I just haven't gone to the post office. So I'm going to plan on doing that today. So anyway, I'm going to maybe next time, because don't know what I'm going to do. I was going to give away this skein yarn. I need to hang it up. It's left over from my cardigan that I made, and I'm not going to need it. So I'll give it away. But I think I'll do that next time. I'll wait because that's my podcast and I can do what I want. So anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me, and I will catch you guys all next time. Bye.
All right, you can drop that back in the water and stop. lungs.
Oh,
That's
oh.
okay. We got it as much as we can.
Right off the plate.
Get this just a little thinner. Oh, no, we're good. All right, so now I'm going to heat up the marble and start pulling on the marble. You can see in the shadow just how hot the glass is still. All right, we start pulling on the marble. Got a nice teardrop shape.
This could be really pretty. I know the marble's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
unfortunately, that really thin area is very fragile.
So we say you can't cut it.
Yeah, it's right down there.
All right, I'll hand you this. I'll have you push down on that red button and concentrate the flame right on that break-off point. Perfect. There's a little bit on the larger side. You can cool off the bottom.
Oh yeah, you got a big hole in the top.
Because if I try and just
Big
attach
hole.
this really hot glass to that opening there, because it is a little bit wider and the glass is cooling off, it's going to create a suction and pull the hot glass into the ornament itself if I don't cool it off first. Chop that off there. Grab up to the tip of the glass. Pull this up. Flip it over and squish it down to itself. Push that on center.
The texture is really neat.